The Discourses of Epictetus. Translated by George Long. Book 2. Chapter 24. To, or against, a person who was one of those who were not valued, esteemed, by him. A certain person said to him, Epictetus, frequently I desired to hear you and came to you, and you never gave me any answer, and now, if it is possible, I entreat you to say something to me. Do you think, said Epictetus, that as there is an art in anything else, so there is also an art in speaking, and that he who has the art, will speak skillfully, and he who has not, will speak unskillfully? I do think so. He then who by speaking receives benefit himself, and is able to benefit others, will speak skillfully, but he who is rather damaged by speaking and does damage to others, will he be unskilled in this art of speaking? And you may find that some are damaged and others benefited by speaking. And are all who hear benefited by what they hear? Or will you find that among them also some are benefited and some damaged? There are both among these also, he said. In this case also then those who hear skillfully are benefited, and those who hear unskillfully are damaged. He admitted this. Is there then a skill in hearing also, as there is in speaking? It seems so. If you choose, consider the matter in this way also. The practice of music, to whom does it belong? To a musician. And the proper making of a statue, to whom do you think that it belongs? To a statuary. And the looking at a statue skillfully, does this appear to you to require the aid of no art? This also requires the aid of art. Then if speaking properly is the business of the skillful man, do you see that to hear also with benefit is the business of the skillful man? Now as to speaking and hearing perfectly, and usefully, let us for the present, if you please, say no more, for both of us are a long way from everything of the kind. But I think that every man will allow this, that he who is going to hear philosophers requires some amount of practice in hearing. Is it not so? Tell me then about what I should talk to you. About what matter are you able to listen? About good and evil. Good and evil in what? In a horse? No. Well, in an ox? No. What then? In a man? Yes. Do we know then what a man is, what the notion is which we have of him, or have we our ears in any degree practiced about this matter? But do you understand what nature is? Or can you even in any degree understand me when I say I shall use demonstration to you? How? Do you understand this very thing, what demonstration is, or how anything is demonstrated, or by what means, or what things are like demonstration, but are not demonstration? Know what is true, or what is false? What is consequent on a thing, what is repugnant to a thing, or not consistent, or inconsistent? But must I excite you to philosophy, and how? Shall I show to you the repugnance in the opinions of most men, through which they differ about things good and evil, and about things which are profitable and unprofitable, when you know not this very thing, what repugnance, contradiction, is? Show me then what I shall accomplish by discoursing with you, excite my inclination to do this. As the grass which is suitable, when it is presented to a sheep, moves its inclination to eat, but if you present to it a stone or bread, it will not be moved to eat. So there are in us certain natural inclinations also to speak, when the hearer shall appear to be somebody, when he himself shall excite us, but when he shall sit by us like a stone or like grass, how can he excite a man's desire to speak? Does the vine say to the husbandman, "Take care of me"? No, but the vine by showing in itself that it will be profitable to the husbandman if he does take care of it, invites him to exercise care. When children are attractive and lively, whom do they not invite to play with them, and crawl with them, and lisp with them? But who is eager to play with an ass, or to bray with it? For though it is small, it is still a little ass. Why then do you say nothing to me? I can only say this to you, that he who knows not who he is, and for what purpose he exists, and what is this world, and with whom he is associated, and what things are the good and the bad, and the beautiful and the ugly, and who neither understands discourse nor demonstration, nor what is true nor what is false, and who is not able to distinguish them, will neither desire according to nature nor turn away nor move towards, nor intend to act, nor assent nor dissent, nor suspend his judgment. To say all in a few words, he will go about dumb and blind, thinking that he is somebody, but being nobody. Is this so now for the first time? Is it not the fact that ever since the human race existed, all errors and misfortunes have arisen through this ignorance? Why did Agamemnon and Achilles quarrel with one another? Was it not through not knowing what things are profitable and not profitable? Does not the one say it is profitable to restore Chrysis to her father, and does not the other say that it is not profitable? Does not the one say that he ought to take the prize of another, and does not the other say that he ought not? Did they not for these reasons forget, both who they were and for what purpose they had come there? Oh, man, for what purpose did you come? To gain mistresses or to fight? To fight. With whom? The Trojans or the Hellenes? With the Trojans. Do you then leave Hector alone and draw your sword against your own king? And do you, most excellent sir, neglect the duties of the king, you who are the people's guardian and have such cares? And are you quarreling about a little girl with the most warlike of your allies, whom you ought by every means to take care of and protect? And do you become worse than, inferior to, a well-behaved priest who treats you these fine gladiators with all respect? Do you see what kind of things ignorance of what is profitable does? But I also am rich. Are you then richer than Agamemnon? But I am also handsome. Are you then more handsome than Achilles? But I have also beautiful hair. But had not Achilles more beautiful hair and gold-colored? And he did not comb it elegantly nor dress it. But I am also strong. Can you then lift so great a stone as Hector or Ajax? But I am also of noble birth. Are you the son of a goddess mother? Are you the son of a father sprung from Zeus? What good then do these things do to him, when he sits and weeps for a girl? But I am an orator. And was he not? Do you not see how he handled the most skillful of the Hellenes in oratory, Odysseus and Phoenix? How he stopped their mouths. This is all that I have to say to you, and I say even this not willingly. Why? Because you have not roused me. For what must I look to in order to be roused, as men who are expert in riding are roused by generous horses? Must I look to your body? You treat it disgracefully. To your dress? That is luxurious. To your behavior, to your look? That is the same as nothing. When you would listen to a philosopher, do not say to him, "You tell me nothing," but only show yourself worthy of hearing or fit for hearing, and you will see how you will move the speaker. Book 2. Chapter 25. That logic is necessary. When one of those who were present said, "Persuade me that logic is necessary," he replied, "Do you wish me to prove this to you?" The answer was yes. Then I must use a demonstrative form of speech. This was granted. How then will you know if I am cheating you by my argument? The man was silent. Do you see, said Epictetus, that you yourself are admitting that logic is necessary, if without it you cannot know so much as this, whether logic is necessary or not necessary? Book 2. Chapter 26. What is the property of error? Every error comprehends contradiction, for since he who errs does not wish to err, but to be right, it is plain that he does not do what he wishes. For what does the thief wish to do? That which is for his own interest. If then the theft is not for his interest, he does not do that which he wishes. But every rational soul is by nature offended at contradiction, and so long as it does not understand this contradiction, it is not hindered from doing contradictory things, but when it does understand the contradiction, it must of necessity avoid the contradiction and avoid it as much as a man must dissent from the false when he sees that a thing is false. But so long as this falsehood does not appear to him, he assents to it as to truth. He then is strong in argument and has the faculty of exhorting and confuting, who is able to show to each man the contradiction through which he errs and clearly to prove how he does not do that which he wishes and does that which he does not wish. For if anyone shall show this, a man will himself withdraw from that which he does, but so long as you do not show this, do not be surprised if a man persists in his practice, for having the appearance of doing right, he does what he does. For this reason Socrates also trusting to this power used to say, I am used to call no other witness of what I say, but I am always satisfied with him with whom I am discussing, and I ask him to give his opinion and call him as a witness, and though he is only one, he is sufficient in the place of all. For Socrates knew by what the rational soul is moved, just like a pair of scales, and then it must incline, whether it chooses or not. Show the rational governing faculty a contradiction, and it will withdraw from it, but if you do not show it, rather blame yourself than him who is not persuaded. Book 3. Chapter 1. Of Finery and Dress. A certain young man, a rhetorician, came to see Epictetus, with his hair dressed more carefully than was usual and his attire in an ornamental style, whereupon Epictetus said, Tell me if you do not think that some dogs are beautiful and some horses, and so of all other animals. I do think so, the youth replied. Are not then some men also beautiful and others ugly? Certainly. Do we then for the same reason call each of them in the same kind beautiful, or each beautiful for something peculiar? And you will judge of this matter thus, since we see a dog naturally formed for one thing, and a horse for another, and for another still, as an example, a nightingale, we may generally and not improperly declare each of them to be beautiful then when it is most excellent according to its nature. But since the nature of each is different, each of them seems to me to be beautiful in a different way. Is it not so? He admitted that it was. That then which makes a dog beautiful, makes a horse ugly, and that which makes a horse beautiful, makes a dog ugly, if it is true that their natures are different. It seems to be so. For I think that what makes a Pancratius beautiful, makes a wrestler to be not good, and a runner to be most ridiculous, and he who is beautiful for the pentathlon, is very ugly for wrestling. It is so, said he. What then makes a man beautiful? Is it that which in its kind makes both a dog and a horse beautiful? It is, he said. What then makes a dog beautiful? The possession of the excellence of a dog. And what makes a horse beautiful? The possession of the excellence of a horse. What then makes a man beautiful? Is it not the possession of the excellence of a man? And do you then, if you wish to be beautiful, young man, labor at this, the acquisition of human excellence? But what is this? Observe whom you yourself praise. When you praise many persons without partiality, do you praise the just or the unjust? The just. Whether do you praise the moderate or the immoderate? The moderate. And the temperate or the intemperate? The temperate. If then you make yourself such a person, you will know that you will make yourself beautiful, but so long as you neglect these things, you must be ugly, Iskron, even though you contrive all you can to appear beautiful. Further, I do not know what to say to you, for if I say to you what I think, I shall offend you, and you will perhaps leave the school and not return to it, and if I do not say what I think, see how I shall be acting, if you come to me to be improved. And I shall not improve you at all, and if you come to me as to a philosopher, and I shall say nothing to you as a philosopher. And how cruel it is to you to leave you uncorrected. If at any time afterwards you shall acquire sense, you will with good reason blame me and say, what did Epictetus observe in me that when he saw me in such a plight coming to him in such a scandalous condition, he neglected me and never said a word? Did he so much despair of me? Was I not young? Was I not able to listen to reason? And how many other young men at this age commit many like errors? I hear that a certain Pullman from being a most dissolute youth underwent such a great change. Well, suppose that he did not think that I should be a Pullman, yet he might have set my hair right, he might have stripped off my decorations, he might have stopped me from plucking the hair out of my body, but when he saw me dressed like, what shall I say? He kept silent. I do not say like what, but you will say when you come to your senses, and shall know what it is, and what persons use such a dress. If you bring this charge against me hereafter, what defense shall I make? Why, shall I say that the man will not be persuaded by me? Was Laius persuaded by Apollo? Did he not go away and get drunk and show no care for the oracle? Well then, for this reason, did Apollo refuse to tell him the truth? I indeed do not know whether you will be persuaded by me or not, but Apollo knew most certainly that Laius would not be persuaded, and yet he spoke. But why did he speak? I say in reply, but why is he Apollo, and why does he deliver oracles, and why has he fixed himself in this place as a prophet and source of truth, and for the inhabitants of the world to resort to him? And why are the words, "Know yourself," written in front of the temple, though no person takes any notice of them? Did Socrates persuade all his hearers to take care of themselves? Not the 1,000th part. But however, after he had been placed in this position by the deity, as he himself says, he never left it. But what does he say even to his judges? If you acquit me on these conditions, that I no longer do that which I do now, I will not consent and I will not desist, but I will go up both to young and to old, and, to speak plainly, to every man whom I meet, and I will ask the questions which I ask now, and most particularly will I do this to you, my fellow citizens, because you are more nearly related to me. Are you so curious, Socrates, and such a busybody? And how does it concern you how we act? And what is it that you say? Being of the same community and of the same kin, you neglect yourself, and show yourself a bad citizen to the state, and a bad kinsman to your kinsmen, and a bad neighbor to your neighbors. Who then are you? Here it is a great thing to say, I am he whose duty it is to take care of men, for it is not every little heifer which dares to resist a lion, but if the bull comes up and resists him, say to the bull, if you choose, and who are you? And what business have you here? Man, in every kind there is, produced something which excels, in oxen, in dogs, in bees, in horses. Do not then say to that which excels, who then are you? If you do, it will find a voice in some way and say, I am such a thing as the purple in a garment, do not expect me to be like the others, or blame my nature that it has made me different from the rest of men. What then? Am I such a man? Certainly not. And are you such a man as can listen to the truth? I wish you were. But however, since in a manner I have been condemned to wear a white beard and a cloak, and you come to me as to a philosopher, I will not treat you in a cruel way nor yet as if I despaired of you. But I will say, young man, whom do you wish to make beautiful? In the first place, know who you are and then adorn yourself appropriately. You are a human being, and this is a mortal animal which has the power of using appearances rationally. But what is meant by rationally? Conformably to nature and completely. What then do you possess, which is peculiar? Is it the animal part? No. Is it the condition of mortality? No. Is it the power of using appearances? No. You possess the rational faculty as a peculiar thing, adorn and beautify this, but leave your hair to him who made it as he chose. Come, what other appellations have you? Are you man or woman? Man, adorn yourself then as man, not as woman. Woman is naturally smooth and delicate, and if she has much hair on her body, she is a monster and is exhibited at Rome among monsters. And in a man it is monstrous not to have hair, and if he has no hair, he is a monster, but if he cuts off his hairs and plucks them out, what shall we do with him? Where shall we exhibit him? And under what name shall we show him? I will exhibit to you a man who chooses to be a woman rather than a man. What a terrible sight! There is no man who will not wonder at such a notice. Indeed, I think that the men who pluck out their hairs do what they do without knowing what they do. Man, what fault have you to find with your nature? That it made you a man? What then was it fit that nature should make all human creatures women? And what advantage in that case would you have had in being adorned? For whom would you have adorned yourself, if all human creatures were women? But you are not pleased with the matter, set to work then upon the whole business. Take away, what is its name? That which is the cause of the hairs, make yourself a woman in all respects, that we may not be mistaken, do not make one half man, and the other half woman. Whom do you wish to please? The women? Please them as a man. Well, but they like smooth men. Will you not hang yourself? And if women took delight in catamites, would you become one? Is this your business? Were you born for this purpose, that dissolute women should delight in you? Shall we make such a one as you a citizen of Corinth and perchance a prefect of the city, or chief of the youth, or general or superintendent of the games? Well, and when you have taken a wife, do you intend to have your hairs plucked out? To please whom and for what purpose? And when you have begotten children, will you introduce them also into the state with the habit of plucking their hairs? A beautiful citizen, and senator, and rhetorician. We ought to pray that such young men be born among us, and brought up. Do not so, I entreat you by the gods, young man, but when you have once heard these words, go away and say to yourself, Epictetus has not said this to me, for how could he? But some propitious God through him, for it would never have come into his thoughts to say this, since he is not accustomed to talk thus with any person. Come then, let us obey God, that we may not be subject to his anger. You say, no. But, I say, if a crow by his croaking signifies anything to you, it is not the crow which signifies, but God through the crow, and if he signifies anything through a human voice, will he not cause the man to say this to you, that you may know the power of the divinity, that he signifies to some in this way, and to others in that way, and concerning the greatest things and the chief he signifies through the noblest messenger? What else is it which the poet says? For we ourselves have warned him, and have sent. Hermes the careful watcher, Argus slayer. The husband not to kill, nor would the wife. Was Hermes going to descend from heaven to say this to him, Aegisthus? And now the gods say this to you, and send the messenger, the slayer of Argus, to warn you not to pervert that which is well arranged, nor to busy yourself about it, but to allow a man to be a man, and a woman to be a woman, a beautiful man to be as a beautiful man, and an ugly man as an ugly man, for you are not flesh and hair, but you are will, proeresis, and if your will is beautiful, then you will be beautiful. But up to the present time I dare not tell you that you are ugly, for I think that you are readier to hear anything than this. But see what Socrates says to the most beautiful and blooming of men, Alcibiades, try then to be beautiful. What does he say to him? Dress your hair and pluck the hairs from your legs? Nothing of that kind. But adorn your will, take away bad opinions. How with the body? Leave it as it is by nature. Another has looked after these things, entrust them to him. What then, must a man be uncleaned? Certainly not, but what you are and are made by nature, cleanse this. A man should be cleanly as a man, a woman as a woman, a child as a child. You say no, but let us also pluck out the lion's mane, that he may not be uncleaned, and the cock's comb, for he also ought to be cleaned. Granted, but as a cock, and the lion as a lion, and the hunting dog as a hunting dog. Book 3. Chapter 2. In what a man ought to be exercised who is made proficiency, and that we neglect the chief things. There are 3 things, topics, topoi, in which a man ought to exercise himself who would be wise and good. The first concerns the desires and the aversions, that a man may not fail to get what he desires, and that he may not fall into that which he does not desire. The second concerns the movements towards an object, and the movements from an object, and generally in doing what a man ought to do, that he may act according to order, to reason, and not carelessly. The third thing concerns freedom from deception and rashness in judgment, and generally it concerns the essence, subkatathesis. Of these topics the chief and the most urgent is that which relates to the effects, topav, perturbations, for an affect is produced in no other way than by a failing to obtain that which a man desires or falling into that which a man would wish to avoid. This is that which brings in perturbations, disorders, bad fortune, misfortunes, sorrows, lamentations, and envy, that which makes men envious and jealous, and by these causes we are unable even to listen to the precepts of reason. The second topic concerns the duties of a man, for I ought not to be free from effects, a path, like a statue, but I ought to maintain the relations, species, natural and acquired, as a pious man, as a son, as a father, as a citizen. The third topic is that which immediately concerns those who are making proficiency, that which concerns the security of the other two, so that not even in sleep any appearance unexamined may surprise us, nor in intoxication, nor in melancholy. This, it may be said, is above our power. But the present philosophers, neglecting the first topic and the second, the effects and duties, employ themselves on the third, using sophistical arguments, metapiptantes, making conclusions from questioning, employing hypotheses, lying. For a man must, as it is said, when employed on these matters, take care that he is not deceived. Who must? The wise and good man. This then is all that is wanting to you. Have you successfully worked out the rest? Are you free from deception in the matter of money? If you see a beautiful girl, do you resist the appearance? If your neighbor obtains an estate by will, are you not vexed? Now is there nothing else wanting to you except unchangeable firmness of mind, ametaptosia? Wretch, you hear these very things with fear and anxiety that some person may despise you, and with inquiries about what any person may say about you. And if a man come and tell you that in a certain conversation in which the question was, who is the best philosopher, a man who was present said that a certain person was the chief philosopher, your little soul, which was only a finger's length, stretches out to 2 cubits. But if another who is present says, you are mistaken, it is not worthwhile to listen to a certain person, for what does he know? He is only the first principles, and no more? Then you are confounded, you grow pale, you cry out immediately, I will show him who I am, that I am a great philosopher. It is seen by these very things, why do you wish to show it by others? Do you not know that Diogenes pointed out one of the sophists in this way, by stretching out his middle finger? And then when the man was wild with rage, this, he said, is the certain person, I have pointed him out to you. For a man is not shown by the finger, as a stone or a piece of wood, but when any person shows the man's principles, then he shows him as a man. Let us look at your principles also. For is it not plain that you value not at all your own will, proeresis, but you look externally to things which are independent of your will? For instance, what will a certain person say? And what will people think of you? Will you be considered a man of learning? Have you read Chrysippus or Antipater? For if you have read Archidemus also, you have everything that you can desire. Why are you still uneasy, lest you should not show us who you are? Would you let me tell you what manner of man you have shown us that you are? You have exhibited yourself to us as a mean fellow, querulous, passionate, cowardly, finding fault with everything, blaming everybody, never quiet, vain. This is what you have exhibited to us. Go away now and read Archidemus, then if a mouse should leap down and make a noise, you are a dead man. For such a death awaits you as it did, what was the man's name? Crines, and he too was proud, because he understood Archidemus. Wretch, will you not dismiss these things that do not concern you at all? These things are suitable to those who are able to learn them without perturbation, to those who can say, I am not subject to anger, to grief, to envy, I am not hindered, I am not restrained. What remains for me? I have leisure, I am tranquil, Let us see how we must deal with sophistical arguments. Let us see how when a man has accepted a hypothesis, he shall not be led away to anything absurd. To them such things belong. To those who are happy, it is appropriate to light a fire, to dine, if they choose, both to sing and to dance. But when the vessel is sinking, you come to me, and hoist the sails.